I'm very excited to be here. I'm actually the emergency moderator today. Our original host lost the battle to a virus in the morning. We actually asked AI to step in. It politely declined, so you will get the human version of it. Fully analog, maybe a bit unpredictable, but for sure a very insightful panel, I will promise that. Today, we're going to talk about how AI is going to shape design and what the role of the future designer is going to look like, which skills are going to evolve and further develop in the future. And it's already a win for me because with the brilliant panelists I'm going to introduce now, Mick. She is not only bringing joy to Google search, but is also obsessed with farts and butts. This is what we learned today. Maybe because her biggest stakeholder is not Google, but a 4-year-old with strong opinions. Mick, welcome on stage. I'm also happy to invite Vitaly to the stage, founder and creative mind behind Smashing Magazines. Everyone over 30 in the fields of design is for sure treating it like the Holy Bible and may have still some bookmarked articles in that field. Vitaly, welcome on stage.
Thank you. Hello.
Hey. And now some more women power. Malin, she is designer at Cash App. I had a talk with a coworker of her who described her as the most hardworking woman you can ever imagine and you cannot keep up with. So you will see her magic in a talk in this afternoon, and I'm happy to have her on this panel. Malin, please do us the honor. And last but not least, I also like to invite Mauri, the first designer on the board of a banking group, not only shaping finance with design, but also shaping the strategy on the top table. Please welcome on stage, Mauri. Before we start into the first discussion round, let me reveal basically the question and the answers that on the poll that you got asked. So there was the big question how the role of the designer is going to look like. Yeah, should I? Can somebody put the... No, it's there. So surprisingly, the strategist won. So I would be curious if this was wishful thinking, how the role is going to evolve, or if this is the thing you really believe. And let me start with the panelists in one sentence. What is your take on that? Please.
Yes, so I think from my end, it's very interesting to see the strategies being at the top. I know, very short answer. I think that probably the most important thing we will do is, or we'll have to deal with, is curation and figuring out what to do, I think. And this is probably the crux of strategy. So I think that's that. But I would say curator is also important.
Thank you. Malin.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised to see the strategist too. We talk about this a lot and we never mentioned it as a word. But if that means curating as well, I think that makes sense to me. Maybe like strategy is part of curating. So kind of makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say like a hybrid role, strategist, curator, making that T-shaped. But I think it's like not only ideating and coming up with the ideas, but also like infusing your taste and like having that skill set to be able to curate and know which ideas to push forward to. So I guess that's why I would say hybrid.
I don't know how many of you have done the transit from being a designer to become an art director, where you manage a design team. And I don't know if you have experienced the same thing I've experienced, which is you need to remove, at the beginning, I tend to say, instead of explaining you what I mean or my opinion, I do it myself. I have lots of people come into my office and say, oh, we do this, and say, I'm not sure I like it. And instead of being able to tell these people how to tune it, I will say, well, come back next week, I will try myself out.
Still on the board level.
And it took me some years to learn this job. And I think with AI, we need to learn the same job. We need to learn how to explain to, in this case, technology, how to move forward. It's a bit curatorship, but it's a bit, you need to, and I tend even to be very polite with AI, not to hurt AI and say, that's a bad idea, do it again, right? No, I'm trying to elaborate it. And I think that's the main task is gonna be on our table, right? To turn into, we will become all kind of other actor, and we're gonna have an army of agents who will work for us. And so we need to be very careful, and we need to learn how to express in text what we mean, and that's not easy. For many years myself, it was faster for me to do it myself than explain someone else how this should be. I think that's what this is going to be. So I'm for the curator part.
Just to build on top, if I may, I think that people are inherently so bad at articulating what they want, even if they think that they know what they want, or if they believe that they would actually know what they want if they actually could express it.
Yeah.
People are really, really bad at articulating that.
I agree.
And I'm not sure if we can actually teach people to do it better.
In my case, I was forced to because the designer I was working with, they were much faster than myself.
Mm.
And so it became pretty obvious that if I learn how to articulate what I mean and give them guidance, they will come up with a solution much faster than I could have ever done myself. So
Makes sense.
maybe we will be forced to get there.
So no matter if we are curators or if we are strategists, when you think of AI as a tool and as a product at the same time, how do we manage that balance?
I mean, it's like designing for the computer with the computer, right? We've done this. We are doing this right now. I don't designing for AI with AI. It's part of what's coming for us, really. And I imagine like people working at Figma have the same problem, like designing Figma in Figma. That's like an inception moment, probably, but. I would say just like the way I think about it and approach it, just go for it and see what happens, right? Like I think Mick kind of described it in her talk as leave space for human error and just do things for the sake of curiosity. That's what I do, and what better way? Like I think we are designing for ourselves, right? We use AI, we design for AI, we can empathize. So start there and then expand and see where it takes us, basically. I don't think anyone has the exact answer to like how to handle this situation. So we all need to figure it out together and see what comes out of it.
I think also for me, the whole process of how we think about design is really, I think the AI is challenging that very severely, because when we think about design, we usually think about customer journeys, user journey maps, stuff like that. That just doesn't work with AI well. Because when you think about AI and especially like agentic experiences, we have this, everybody's speaking about human in the loop, right? You heard this before? I always ask myself, what is that loop? I want to know what that loop is. Where is that loop? Can I touch that loop? And what does it look like, right? But in the end, well, you need, if you have, let's say, a goal that's set up, right? You basically need to understand the environment, and then you need to read the sensors, and then you need to make decisions, you need to execute those decisions, and then you read the environment again. And kind of go into that loop, in that never-ending circle. It's very difficult to design that kind of linear journey, because there is no linear journey anymore. It's kind of a bunch of turns. People are always moving back and forth. It's becoming just more challenging. I think at this, really thinking in loops and how we orchestrate those loops to be driving people to the goal that they actually want to achieve faster, this is probably the crux of it all. To me, this is still uncharted territory, to be honest.
When you, I mean, everyone knows the term Netflix and chill, I guess. With AI, being able within a heartbeat come up with 50 mock-ups and designing UI flows and taking care of copy. Do you think there is some point the term Figma and chill?
Figma what? Sorry.
Figma and chill, in a sense that AI does the magic for you and you can like sit down and relax.
Yeah. I guess that's the point about like the curator, I think being the important, like being the tastemaker and being able to bring your experiences and your point of view and perspective to edit out those. Like in my own explorations, like I'll generate like million, it feels like a slot machine, just like a million different permutations of a drawing that I might like or have an idea of. But it's like it's a real skill to be able to distill it down to like the top 5, and like it's just building your own taste and curatorial skills and abilities to know like these are the ones that are worth pursuing. So yeah, I think that is I think the curator part that I think will be really important moving forward, because you can have like a million permutations with all of these different AI tools, but just being able to pick and know kind of instantly, especially in this fast-paced world, to which ones are worth it, is something.
He's totally right. I was thinking by listening to you, I was thinking the following. In the past, we were able to select out of 3 options. Because we were able to issue 3 options. It was relatively easy. Now, let's assume what happened if you're going to get 3,000 options. How do you decide? And I think it's important that whoever is in the position to be able to decide what to pick and what to work further and so on and so on, you need to start having criteria. You need to elaborate yourself. You need to say, okay, you need to think the whole journey, pretty much what you said. You need to think about what are the criteria are going to use to decide. So I think it's a very interesting exercise, because you have to pick out of 3,000 rather than out of 3. Out of 3 is relatively easy. And I think that's where a good designer or good creative person comes in place. That's a bit similar to what I told you before. You need to be elaborate down to, it's not anymore what I like, what I don't like, or what I believe it works, what I believe it doesn't work. There is much more. That's fascinating. I like that. Yeah.
I mean, with the rise of so many options currently on the table, would you say that you would rather test 100 or still test only 3? How do you deal with that in Cash App or at Google?
Gosh, no, like, please, let's stop the testing scenarios. Like, I think this, like, move fast, break things, that was a great mindset 20 years ago when, like, we didn't know what we were doing in the dot-com era. Now everybody has phones in their pockets. Everyone has, like, especially finance, right? Like, financial apps should be great from the get-go. Like, you can't allow to even scare someone with your indecisiveness because you wanted to experiment with something. So, like, I would say AI is accelerating decision making for us, like at 100 times the speed. We should be able to ship one thing that is like amazing and feels great and is the right thing and move forward, rather than keep testing the same iterations, because also the industry is moving so fast as well. People's expectations are moving. Someone is going to build a better product from you out there, and you're gonna even like become obsolete as a company. So, like, you don't have time to think about like what the experiment told you. Like, you just have to develop that decision much faster. And I think what 20 years ago was a great advice, it's now absolutely unacceptable. And I would love to see more of us move towards less experimentation in the current sense we
So
have.
what's the general approach on testing? Do it with AI? Do it with the classical
No,
A/B?
I would say, like, obviously taste is like a big topic of discussion here. Like, we all, like, collectively in this room, we have more than 100 years of experience building products for customers. Why should we wait for AI or statistically like some users to kind of like bring that insight for us? Like, I think majority, we know what feels right, what feels good, and we can, like, I'm not saying don't test at all. There is ways to kind of like talk to customers, digest those insights, understand it, and build from there. And then obviously you need to prove impact through business numbers, and there's ways to do that. But I think just come together in a room, make a call, make a bet, ship that, see what happens, and if it doesn't work, ship something else in 3 months. That feels just as great.
Mick, may I ask you to step in here as well?
Sorry?
May I ask you to step in and bring your opinion here as well?
Yeah, that's a tough one. A lot of the features that we build, we don't test, we just launch, and we do pre-mortems to make sure, like, evaluate risk, and in the off chance that something unexpected happens, like I don't know, some sort of hashtag backlash or something, because humans still are unpredictable, and you don't know always how they're going to respond to something. So I think I'm still in the camp of like testing, even if it's in like hallway studies with like just people at work, and just subject matter experts that can kind of help you see outside of maybe the small focus of the project that you're working on, and still bring that human perspective to something coming to a cold. So yeah, I mean, and if it's A/B testing on like button styles, like I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think we actually need to design the experience to help people navigate this massive number of options, right? Because I think we've been there before. I mean, if you look at any kind of enterprise search, it's very common that you will type something and you get tens of thousands of results. And so you filter down, and then you sort, and then you filter a bit more, and then you categorize and cluster and try to figure out what you have in front of you. So if you have, let's say, AI being able to explore a lot of options, I mean, I feel like the one thing that I really miss in all AI experiences is a just good old-fashioned filter button. I just don't want to have ask me anything kind of experience because I never know what to ask. And I don't know how to ask. And I don't know what should I write in that prompt or not. I just want a nice, simple filter button. And I can click on that filter button and say, I want results or answers that match my criteria. And I don't want to articulate that by writing sentences with please and thank you and editing commas and all of that. And actually, the example from Arno here about Zalando's buttons. Buttons are great. I mean, buttons are amazing. Yeah. And I think that if we actually could frame or help people structure the way of expressing intent in a much more efficient way, we can also help them drill down much faster in many ways of how we actually do it with filters too. I think it's actually just very simple, but it's very often totally underrated, I think.
When you think about the products you are using and the big hype around AI and all the promises that you get all over the place, what is the biggest disappointment you came across lately?
Yeah, I have disappointments.
Please share
For
them.
it, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, but you would like to start?
No, you can.
Yeah. So from my end, I think we've been doing this LLMs, chatbots, conventional computational interfaces for like good 3 years now, right? And in many ways, it's all still very, very similar. We actually made quite some progress in that space, but it feels like we have said that, well, we are moving on now to conversations, but we're totally forgotten, overlooked all the things that we have learned over 20 years. Like all the things that we actually have been doing. And I think one of the things that we actually have conversations about when we're speaking about companies, when we integrate AI, it's like we need to AI now. That's the story, right? And so we need to ship it now. But then we realize, well, at the same time, we are regulated and we also need to be compliant with European Accessibility Act and so on. But there's almost no research about accessibility of AI. Because you might say that, well, chatbot, that's all done. Well, the chatbot experience when it comes to screen reader users is very different than if you're a citing user. So this requires consideration. And not to mention that if you just have, let's say, generate a canvas with data in it, visualized in some way, that's not even considered. So you ship a feature because you have to ship AI, but then you're not compliant because you haven't considered accessibility as a part of the process because you had to ship AI, right? And so this becomes a bit of a story. So I think we are just really, because of the hype around us, of course, we are just really looking at that shiny thing and we need to push it, but then kind of leaving behind everything that we actually have to do to make it valuable to people. That's maybe, I'll ramble about it for the next 30 minutes after this lunch session, so I better stop.
Maybe to add to your point though, like that regulation on accessibility is only in Europe.
Well, if
We
you
don't
are,
have it in US
you're
as
right, but
much,
that's
but
right.
like it's
But
very interesting that you're mentioning that.
But of course, if you are serving European customers in one way or the other, then you have to comply with EAA, right? But of course, if you're serving American customers, that's not the story. Yes, you're right.
Mari, I got a question for you. So when you think of AI and banking, I mean, there's a big question of trust, and banking actually equals trust. Do you think that AI is going to bring trust up or down?
I think up. I think it brings it up. Not for the. So, look, I'm looking at myself. look, we all experience comparison sites. When you go online and you find a website that compare different services and suggests you the best service, we all believe that's very legit. Great. That's the best contract for telecom, or that's the best insurance, or that's the best product. We don't really know if the algorithm in the background is a bit influenced by some corporate games and some deals. Most probably it is. But we perceive it as objective because it's done by software. While if you go to a person that you don't really trust, you may say, maybe this guy has a deal in the background. So we are very skeptical with human being, very skeptical. We have learned our lesson over the years that we have been oversold something, and these people have some hidden agenda. And we tend to believe that software is very objective. That's why, for instance, many people, every research tells us now, people believe that whatever AI is pulling out is truth, which is not the case. And now they show the sources. And if you want, you could do some research. Most of the people don't do research. But in general, people believe in it because it's software.
So you think that people are not afraid that...
And no, that's funny. We did an experiment in some country where basically we were recommending product in the branches to customer, and the product recommendation came from a tablet and not for the person. And it turns out that the conversion rate was higher. Obviously, customer believed what the software was pulling out. Okay, that's your next product, rather than the person that you're sitting in front of it, that probably is your advisor or consultant, tells you. Because human beings are always associated with a bit of hidden agenda, they have their own targets, they need to get their bonus and so on. While software, it's completely irrelevant. If you know how software is built, you can build it whatever way you want, right? You can build the most nasty asshole ever if you want to. But that's the perception. That's why I believe, and now turn it around. I try myself using ChatGPT for investment advice. So I upload my portfolio. I ask ChatGPT to analyze my portfolio. I ask ChatGPT to do recommendation, completely uncompliant. Not on me, on ChatGPT. They would not be allowed to do it in Europe. And what I got out is a pretty good recommendation and very objective product which are really cheap and performs. So of course, you can come in and play with that, but if you take it out of the box, it's really objectively on your side.
So
and I think that will generate trust. And I believe in this.
Yeah, I believe
like
we
it
could
very
talk
much.
about this for a very long time. We only have like 1 minute to go. So please let me start with the last with the last question. If you could name one skill a designer should have in the future, what would that be? Let's go in order.
Taste.
Taste.
Develop your taste.
Yeah, I would say curation. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say experimentation. I think having an open mind.
Opinion. You need to have opinion to decide left or right.
Perfect. Thank you for the panel. It was a blast having you here. What a wrap. For the audience, please enjoy lunch and be excited for the afternoon. There is a lot more to come. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.